Good afternoon, commissioners. We are currently live on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Hi, thank you.
Good afternoon, commissioners. We are currently live on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Hi, thank you.
Chair Zobel Rodriguez, would you like to begin the meeting?
I think that would be a good idea.
Okay.
We're going to start with the roll call.
So we're going to call the meeting to order. And it is 6:01. And roll call. Commissioner Olivia Robledo.
Present.
Commissioner Nicole Moore.
Present.
Commissioner Suzanne Llamos.
Present.
Vice Chair David Govea. He is absent. And actually he advised ahead of time that he'll be absent for the entire meeting this evening. And Chair Angel Zobel Rodriguez.
Present. And now we have the Pledge of Allegiance, and David is not going to be here. Does somebody want to take that on? I have the flag.
Sure, I will.
Thank you.
Hand over your heart.
There we
Ready?
go.
Begin. I pledge
Pledge
allegiance
allegiance
to
to
the
the flag
of the
of the
United
United States of America
and
and
to
to
the
the republic for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible,
Visible.
with
With
liberty
and
and justice for all.
for all.
I had to find the postcards because I don't know where I put them because we've been doing it out of the community room. I will get a flag for the next meeting just in case, because I'm happy to see that Cynthia got to go home.
Close the door.
So, all right, the first up is approval of the agenda. Do I have anyone to approve the agenda?
I move we approve the agenda.
Others first, I can second.
Second.
Okay, Suzanne will second. And then we need a roll call.
Yes, Commissioner Olivia Robledo.
Yes.
Commissioner Nicole Moore.
Yeah.
Commissioner Suzanne Llamos.
Yes.
Vice Chair David Govea is absent, and Chair Angel Zobel Rodriguez.
Yes. All right, and then public statements.
There are no public statements that have been received for your meeting this
Okay.
evening.
Thank you. And then commission matters, discussion and possible action regarding COVID-19 and its impact on students and schools.
Is that where I come in? Or is that where you come in? Because I know I was instructed to give an update or a report as to the teen COVID town hall that I attended last month.
I think this would be a good place for that to go. Go ahead, Suzanne.
Okay, so on August 27th, oh, Julia, were you able, oh, excuse me a second, everybody. Julia, was Mike able to send you that Google Doc?
I have not received it yet from him.
Bummer. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go by memory. I should have printed it up. Okay, so on the 27th of August, I did participate in the COVID-19 Teen Town Hall, and it was hosted by the Valley Consortium and the Boys and Girls Club of the San Fernando Valley, and the county of the LA County of Public Health. And the whole purpose of it was to listen to teens, listen to their concerns in regards to what they were living with, and when it came to the COVID-19 scenario. And their purpose was also to, in any of the actions or activities that they do, was to make sure that the leadership skills are developed, and to where once their leadership skills are developed, they can be spread to the other youths. And also the premise, once again, is for the adults to listen to them and to guide them, and then for them to make decisions as to what they want to do to help others. Some of the ideas that have been floating around is for them to have not circles, but activities where they could see, okay, what are some of the problems we can talk about? What are some of the possibilities that we can do for this? Um, so what the youth did is they led the presentation by the county public of health. They asked very important questions. There was about 40 people in attendance for the Zoom presentation, the meeting. And prior to that, the direction that they went in to ask the questions of the public health department was from the survey that they had sent out to youth. The whole key was to pass it out and make sure that kids were able to answer these questions. And so with that information, they were able to see that the biggest concern was unemployment, the financial aspect, the health, the communication among families, the lack of technology to thrive or even survive in this time. And when we're looking at the results, those results were the same as the adults in the community, the adults who have been sharing their concerns. It mirrored exactly. So, and they were also able to create some graphs so that way it just validated how the youth has a need. They have a need to be listened to. They have a need to be happy, to feel secure. And that word kept on coming through, be happy, because there's a lot of youth that are under stressors. So with that information, we had a talk. I was talking to Michael Long, who is the Boys and Girls Club project director. And he was sharing that, of course, we have San Fernando kids at the Boys and Girls Club because it's for the San Fernando Valley. So they service everybody in the San Fernando Valley. But it was really interesting because he sees the possibility of the youth touching one another and being able to pull others in. So then I asked him, I said, well, Michael, what do you see? Because I have my ideas of what I would like to see or possibilities. And this is also with the premise of this committee or this commission, from what we were told last month, that we weren't a decision-making body, we were a recommendation body. But if we felt this was a direction or this is something we wanted to develop, then that would be our task or our job. So I asked him, what do you see? And we both came upon the agreement that it would be a really a possible good idea to have, even have a town hall for our San Fernando youth, just replicating what they did at the previous meeting, because it's all in place. Nothing new has to be developed unless there's something that you want to develop. But if we just replicate it and reach out to our youth, maybe the youth who were with the Department of Rec, our leadership kids, the ones who we've recognized through our commission into the city. So if we pull those kids in, I could see us helping them develop a venue to share their ideas and to help them get through the stressors. So that was one of them. The other thing is the Boys and Girls Club has they have the possibility of hiring teams. So if we had some really, um, impressive teams, which we've seen in the past, because we've seen how that's how come they're recognized, because they're super teams. So if we can even reach out to them, say we wanted to do something like this, we already have a pool for leadership in our city. So that was another thing. Another thing is possibly working with the youth, because one thing that I've seen historically, is our kids, I'm saying San Fernando, our kids don't connect with our police department unless they're police explorers. Um, and I know because my husband was a police explorer, so I know the activities and the relationship they have with our community. And I haven't been working with the police department recently. However, I can see where they would have the possibility of having youth um, start to develop a relationship to see the police officers as who they really are as people. So that was another possibility. Another one in relationship to COVID-19 specifically is, as you know, when the COVID broke out and when we had the stay-at-home orders immediately, we were in a state of emergency. And because remember how there wasn't food available and all the shortages that we had, and people were fearful of having to stay home and not being prepared. Well, the American Red Cross has programs to help prepare people. They have prepare youth, prepare seniors, and of course, I'm a part of the American Red Cross also. So I can see where, in fact, we're talking about it, if there was a way for us to encourage our schools here in San Fernando to give credit to the students who developed this preparedness program, especially with the COVID, us being in the COVID-19 scenario, I could see how that would be another possible way to help educate our youth. And once we educate our youth in the emergency preparedness, well, then it would help them become calmer in dealing with the COVID-19 scenario and in helping their families. So I know I shared a lot. There was a lot to talk about, and I didn't share everything with you because there's just so much. There was this group, especially with the Boys and Girls Club. You can see they're a dynamic group. There's a lot of possibilities. There's a lot of passion there. There's a lot of wanting for, once again, their kids to be safe and for them to create a community. I can see us, if that's something that you want to do, if that's something direction that you'd want to talk about. And I'm not the best person to do a presentation on this, because once again, I had just jumped on board not too long ago. But if you want more information to really see, okay, let's pick brains, let's share ideas, and let's listen more about this idea. I would really like to invite Michael Long to one of our commission meetings, so that way you can ask questions of him. Okay, I think that's the. Can you imagine if I had my PowerPoint, Julia? What would have happened? How much longer that would have been?
That is really good for being a month ago that you remember that much from a meeting. I'm having trouble remembering like last week, or remembering to take the trash cans out on Tuesday, or bring the car in the gates. I mean, that's something we do every night and I forget. So that is super comprehensive. I'm really impressed.
I thank you for that. Excuse me a second. I thank you for that. Except I just met with Michael last night and this morning so we could review different ideas. So
okay, that's a good sheet. You didn't have to admit that. That's fantastic. Is there one of these you feel that would be the most comfortable? And we can go around. I'm just from your perspective. This is a lot for us, knowing that we're about to go into scholarship season and everything else. Is there one of these you feel strongly about, or do you think you would like to invite Michael to an upcoming meeting, and we can, work it out with him? What? Go ahead.
I like the idea of the way the town hall was developed, because once again, it was led by the youth. It was their ideas. It was them doing the presenting. And although they did have help with, with developing the presentation, I think that's why there was so much communication among the teams. And I would really like to see that program personally. I would like to see that program excel because we've talked about how our kids, they're suffering along with us. So that was one thing I would like to develop, but I definitely think that it would be worth inviting Michael to the commission for, to him share ideas with you and for him to share with you exactly what direction they're going in right now and how he would like to enhance their team's experience with you, with us. So that's what I would like to invite him to this commission because it seems pretty powerful.
Olivia, do you have any questions?
No, it's pretty comprehensive and a lot that is possible. And maybe I was thinking maybe some of the suggestions or things that could be done actually could be handled by different departments of the city, not necessarily the commission. When you're talking, I mean, Parks and Recreation could maybe do some of these things, I mean, I don't know. We're not full-time staff, so it's hard for us to actually do it, but we could encourage it. We could give suggestions. We could support it, that kind of thing. But I think the town hall, maybe we could handle.
Nicole, do you have any questions?
I guess I'm kind of just looking for what the specific ask is and what is the goal of the town hall, because I guess it sort of just feels like it might just be space to vent. And I don't know that that's productive per se. I feel like it might just lead to a lot of negativity that is unnecessary because I guess I just don't really see what we can do. Our city is pretty small and our budget is pretty small and our ability to address those needs is pretty limited. Mm-hmm. And I'm hesitant while I completely understand what Commissioner Llamas is saying about how fantastic it is that there's this youth-led forum, I'm hesitant to ask teenagers to do anything more than what they're already doing right now. Because they're under a lot of pressure right now, a lot of our leaders, and there aren't that many students who are just in San Fernando. As we've seen with the scholarship thing, our pool is never that big. So I guess I'm kind of just looking for a specific ask that's manageable for us, because that it just feels like a lot that Commissioner Llamas is saying that we could do, especially going into election season. Who knows if the new city council people will commission all of us. So
there is always that.
So I guess I don't want to look for a lot of long-term things, especially because I would hope and pray that COVID is not super long-term. So I love some of what you said about the police department, and I think we could agendize that on a later date because I don't think it's super related to COVID. And right now I do work with the police department pretty closely because I am the chair of the Transportation and Safety Commission. But they're limiting contact with the general public pretty carefully because of COVID. So we would need to, I think, maybe put that on a future agenda item. So I would love to know, Commissioner Llamas, what is it that the organization that you're working with Michael, that he sees as the most doable thing? I hear what you're saying about the Boys and Girls Club and stuff like that. What is the most task oriented stuff that we could assist with?
Yeah, and I see what you're saying. I definitely agree with what you're saying. And I think because Commissioner Moore, that right now I have my hands full too with what's going on at school or at work. So I could see, well, the reason I feel comfortable about bringing this to the commission, and like I said, and I told them I was going to bring it to see what direction, if any, the commission wanted to go in, but something that's tangible or doable, I should say, is we don't have to be the base organization that does all the work. that organization has ever done. That's the Boys and Girls Club of San Fernando
Well, I guess
Valley.
that's my question is what is the actual work they're doing? Because that's I feel like it's a lot right now, and I'm sort of looking
Uh-huh.
at what are the bite-sized chunks of the work that's being done.
Right. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I don't know everything that they're doing. And that's why I think it would be if this is something you want to just continue further, looking at, uh, for us to invite Michael so that way he can do the presentation. Um, because he knows what can be doable. And he said, what type of authority does a commission have, or how does the city work? He knows that everything we do is to enhance our city. So what can be done, and when we talked about just the possibility of just replicating a town hall, so that way they can increase their student base out of the Boys and Girls Club. And here we're going to have another organization for our youth in the city to find a safe place to participate, with people to participate, possibility of gaining jobs. They were just given these grants to give jobs to teens working out of there. And just depending on what our teens need, I would really like our whole group to listen to them. And I know, like you said, we don't even know if we're going to be here in a couple of months, but who knows? Maybe if it's something that's, worth doing, well, then let's listen. And if the commission wants to help or go in that direction, or maybe not, maybe if you just say, no, it's too much. Okay. And then of course, individuals can still work with them, but
Good
if we
about
think about it,
a thing because it sounds like there's a lot, and our next commission meeting is not till the end of October, which is 1 month further into this delightful COVID mess and 1 month closer to the election and all that stuff. I would really like to pick rather than try to replicate something that's already happened, especially because the needs in like Pacoima are not going to be that different than the needs in San Fernando. They're the same needs really of our teenagers. I mean, even like you said, the needs of the teenagers are the same as the adults. I'd really like to see like us pick a chunk of one thing that you heard there, like of what were the priorities, and us make a recommendation to the city of those. So
Yeah.
it sounds kind of like you're saying jobs. I don't know.
Olivia?
I feel a little bit different because my understanding and from the notes I was taking was the purpose of this gathering or the group, the coalition, is to have students or teens to be heard. So one of the frustrations I think in this condition that we find ourselves is isolation. And so I think especially young people feel like they can't be with their friends, they're cheated, that kind of thing. So I think that it affects them in a particular way. So I attended simply, I don't even know how I got into it really, to tell you the truth, but it was called, I attended a town hall that was national. And the name of it was something about what does change look like? So in this situation we find ourselves, we're having to be very creative and try to do things in a different way. I imagine that the town hall that they had in Pacoima was virtual, right? It was on.
Yes.
So there were 60 people across the United States, but the conversation was guided. There was like a PowerPoint. There was like specific questions. And I'm telling you, it was such an upbeat experience for me. And I just happened to, there were other people that were older like I was, but most of them were young people. I was so inspired and impressed by it. And what they did with the Zoom platform, you can put people in pairs or in threes, like you just tell the Zoom to do it and it does it, right? So I talked to a young man from Arizona, and he was attending the university and so forth. So we had this great conversation, and he thanked me, and he's going into education, so I talked to him from the viewpoint of a retired teacher. and principal. And so anyway, I'm just saying, I experienced it. I can tell you it was great, but in order to avoid having it just be a complaint session, you structure it, you organize it. They even had like little videos of inspiring speeches by certain people. It was great. So I know it can be done. And like I say, it was a very special moment. So I'm not saying, we have to do that, but I'm just saying it's a possibility.
So the purpose of that one was more to like encourage them to do something about COVID, whereas it sounds like the one that Commissioner Llamas attended was more about just hearing what they want done.
They did both. At the beginning, it was more like, how is it affecting you? So yeah, we had to hear, I can't go with my friends, or I have to be home with my parents all the time, or we heard things like that. But then they turned it around and they said, okay, in other times, we've had other pandemics, what things have happened? So they gave examples of things that were created, and people invented stuff, other ways that people responded to pandemics in our history. So they gave, I remember a little bit of that. So we were all kind of surprised, and there was this kind of feeling of, oh my gosh, I didn't know that, so they surprised us. But then they went to the part of what can we do? What can you do? So there was like an action at the action suggestion time. So I can't remember everything that we did, but it was like in July that I attended this. And of course they got all our emails. So I keep getting emails. I'm just so busy that I haven't been able to go back, but it was worthwhile, hour, 2 hours. It was great. Didn't look that hard to do.
What I'm thinking, and we can kind of keep talking this. I don't want to spend the whole meeting on this because we've got other stuff we got to talk about, but it feels like, I know there are other commissions because obviously we have Park and Rec. Is there not, Julia or Cynthia, is there not a teen commission or group that I see keep popping up on social media for the city that's TBC or something like that? It seems like it's a teen leadership group through the city.
So you're asking if there is
There's some
already?
kind of if there's some kind of teen group already through the city. I'm willing, I'm definitely willing to hear Michael and give him the 10 minutes that we give to everybody else, and then we can decide how we're going to go, because yes, the election is coming up and this city always surprises us with all kinds of things. But I like the idea of having a partnership going forward with any organization that we can always refer people to. And if we choose not to do the town hall ourselves, we could definitely refer our students through our social media to the Boys and Girls Club. On the other hand, a lot of these things seem like with the right amount of leadership from our group or other commissions, then that's a possibility. Nicole?
What you said got me thinking, because I had actually brought that up with Mayor Fajardo, because Los Angeles recruits for a mayor's youth council. I feel like we would need to agendize this separately, but it got me thinking about that. Really, the root of the issue here is that it's the root of what we're all saying here, I think, is that our city doesn't, I don't think, have something like really officially in place to advise the city council. Because I had brought that up saying, LA recruits for a mayor's youth council, and they do it like by district because, LA is so huge. And I came from Simi Valley, and Simi Valley has a youth council. I know Julia came from Simi Valley too. And
LAUSD has them too for their school board members, and
right.
the entire, it's all the schools bring somebody. I mean, it's something that we can talk about. I mean, this we can kind of, before we go completely off, but it feels like I'm not opposed to having Michael come and speak for 10 minutes at the next meeting. And we can go from there, whether we have the bandwidth to add something during the scholarship season or we don't. I don't think that COVID's going to go away. I don't think the kids are going to go back to school right away. And I'm sure that will upset people who are super optimistic otherwise. I'm not intending to do that. I just, from my perspective and what I'm seeing, it's going to be in for the long haul. Does anybody have strong feelings, Nicole? If we just have him come,
I would
Go
just
ahead.
have him come with an ask.
and we can definitely target his invitation that way as well. You know, and some of this other stuff we can wait to after the election, after that, because with us being the Education Commission, we definitely have a scholarship event. We definitely have a principal's brunch, but I don't know how we've had speakers from the LA County Mental Health Services that's right across the street from City Hall come speak, but I don't know how we don't have the space, the resources, the bandwidth, whatever euphemism you want to use. We just don't have the hours to create a youth council or youth club through us. You know, if that's something we want to do and we want to pursue it with the mayor, whoever the mayor might be after reorganization, we can definitely, you know, pursue that. I thought there was one. I'll look when the meeting's over and see what social media I was seeing that had it covered, but and where it's coming from, because if it's not us, maybe it is LA. But does anybody have any strong feelings against having Michael come and speak to us for 10 minutes at the next meeting? It's okay?
Good.
Okay. We don't need to vote on that, right?
No, you
Just
don't.
consensus. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just agendize him.
We'll agendize him. Suzanne, would you like to reach out to Michael?
Of course. And I think one thing I do want to end with is it might not be something that we as a commission are in the position to develop and lead, but there's nothing wrong with supporting our kids in a project like this. So
Right.
I think,
And
yeah,
they're there. I mean, we have the Boys and Girls Club. I've been to meetings for school board members that they had election functions there. So, you know, they're right there. It would be fantastic for us to have that kind of partnership, even if it's just that we know that they're there and we can refer people. And when YPI had their job program, we had them come speak about the job program. If they have jobs, I definitely want to make sure that the high school principals and the teachers at CCLA know that they're able to hire, because trying to get a job right now is interesting.
yeah. And I just want to make sure I understood that some of the obstacles that are being voiced right now are not obstacles, but concerns was, you know, our ability, first of all, our role, because we're a recommendation group. The other thing is when it comes to if we were to develop our own town hall, if that's, I don't think I think that really wouldn't happen. I think that can happen with the support of the Boys and Girls Club. I think for us, we would just need to be supportive in that. I can see a role that we would have would be to reach out to kids. So that's the other thing. And the other issue that we have is we don't know if this group or how many people in this group is still going to continue with the commission. However, if there was anything done, we would probably want to do something that is sustainable, where, you know, people can still say, oh yes, the commission supported this program. It's worth looking into. Is that what I'm going to take back?
Because I would love to see like a letter of what the organization is and what their goals are. Because if we have a letter of here's what this organization is and here's what their goals are, then we could make a motion that we ask city council to consider being one of the partner organizations. And then our recommendation would go to the city to consider if they actually want to be a partnering organization. But I guess I feel like that is sort of what we need, is sort of like what would be the best what is the word I'm looking for? The best like contribution that we can make as a commission. So that's, I guess, would be my question for you to ask him to present to us.
Right, right. Hey, yeah, and then I just want to remind us, or maybe clarify it, that this is the Boys and Girls Club. This is basically what it is. And it's projects to help develop and enhance the lives of teens. That's what it really is all about. And even it was stated in the survey. In fact, I should get that out to you, just so that way you can have more background knowledge about the purpose of that survey and how it was designed to help develop our youth. I will get that to our commission. I'll send it to Cynthia or to Julia, so that way you can have more background. Okay, I think I'm clear.
I need
Yeah.
clarification with what you were asking for, a letter explaining this project, because the Boys and Girls Club has been around forever and they have a website.
I didn't
We can
know
look
the
at that
Boys and Girls
website
Club
to see
and
what
that
they're working on.
project that they're working on.
The project, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? I couldn't hear.
Like, what is the actual like mission and vision of the project, and how can we contribute best?
Got it. Mission and vision of the project. Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have any other COVID from the city or anything else, Julia?
Well, actually, I did, and I wasn't sure if you want me to present it during this update or staff communications, but I just have a quick public guidelines to Halloween trick-or-treating the events. Do you want to hear that now?
Let's just have the bad news now. Let's go ahead.
Okay.
Let's just do it.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with the document. Let me see here. Okay. Full screen mode. Okay. Does everyone see
Yay.
that?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I don't see it.
you don't see it?
Nope. Does everybody else see it? Because if everybody else sees it, it's okay. I just don't see it.
Does everyone
see
else
it.
see it?
I see it.
Oh, that's odd.
You
That
have
is
a
odd.
file form that you could drop in the chat for us?
Well, it's in a PDF at the moment.
Yeah, I think if you go to the chat, oh, chat's disabled. Just kidding.
I can give you, Commissioner Moore, I can give you control or hosting.
That wouldn't help because I don't have the file. I was.
Oh,
just
that's true.
Way that you could like give us the file so we have the ability to share it.
I can. Well, what I can do is forward it's a 2-page notice from the Los Angeles County Department of Public Health.
Okay.
Guidance for celebrating Halloween. And it provides what Halloween activities are permitted and not recommended, the ones that are permitted and recommended. And I'm sure commissioners, you could probably guess what they are without even reading this document. Just the basics. Of course, what's not permitted is Halloween gatherings, events, parties. Even if they are conducted outdoors, there are no carnivals, festivals, live entertainment, haunted housing attractions. Now, these 2 bullet points are not under not permitted. They are under not recommended. And one of them is the door-to-door trick-or-treating is not recommended because it can be very difficult to maintain proper social distancing, etc. And the second one is the trunk or treating, where children go from car to car instead of door to door. I believe a lot of churches do the trunk or treating in their parking lots, sometimes malls. we'll do
Schools
that.
used to do it too.
And schools, exactly.
Before when we had school.
Right, right. So I'll go ahead and I'm going to stop sharing my screen because since a couple of commissioners can't see them, I'll go ahead and forward this as well. Okay, so now no one can see it, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I'll go ahead and forward that document just so you have
Okay.
the information, and if you want to pass it along to any of your students or maybe not. Yes, Commissioner Moore.
Nicole.
I was wondering if the city has discussed what their strategy for enforcing those not permitted activities will be.
Well,
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, Commissioner Moore? Can you repeat that?
I'm trying to be careful about my wording because I don't want to sound like a disciplinarian, but I'm just wondering, how is the city planning to enforce this?
well,
Given the experience that we had with the 4th of July,
the city will try to, with all its resources available, enforce those activities. I can't see that these code enforcement officers or even police officers at this point are going to go to an event that they see maybe 12, 20 people and say, you must disperse right now. I'm really not sure how they're going to handle that. I can certainly give you an update through an email as to if there are any plans on how to enforce those activities.
I'll ask around myself. Thank you. But
Okay.
I'm curious if there was a plan.
If you find out, please share through email to us too.
all right.
That's the last.
That's the last of the
yep.
COVID deal breakers of 2020.
Yep.
Next up on the agenda is ad hoc committees. Discussion regarding Education Commission ad hoc committee assignments. Do we have anything we really need to discuss? Anybody want to come off something? Anybody want to jump on something? Are we all good right now?
Good.
We may be moving right along. I got to keep switching screens. It never looks great, but okay. If nobody has anything on ad hoc, we have teacher spotlight nomination, selection, and presentation. I lost the word. Presentation procedures. So last Monday, we had our very first teacher spotlight. And thanks to the fine work of Julie Fernandez and the beautiful certificate and social distancing and masking, I ran over and delivered the certificate to Mr. Foley, who tried to give it back and said it wasn't him, that it was, it belonged to, it was a team effort and this, that, and the next thing. And I purposely didn't watch the video until the night of this city council meeting. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I would have really cried when I handed him the certificate. It was really cool. There were a few technical glitches, which were no big deal, because what ended up happening was while we were kind of waiting for the video to play, and even with a group, it was very difficult to get the video to play. First of all, Mr. Foley came in and saved the day for the student of the month, and he played the student of the month. So thank you, Nicole, for getting his certificate to him. His outfits are as divine as we had hoped. That video, we could not have imagined. It is our loss that we were not able to present to him in chambers and everybody get to see Carl in person, because he's a fantastic kid. And like so many of the kids that I have coached and I've worked with over the years, he's a Renaissance kid. He is studying science. He went to Academy of Scientific Exploration, and he is the most creative critter I have ever seen in terms of costumes and hair, and the video. It was just amazing. So that presentation was saved because Mr. Foley had that video on his computer, and we just shared his computer screen. Then we get to him and they're having trouble getting the sound to work. And then out of nowhere, the council members start bantering with Mr. Foley because they recognize him from all the meetings he'd been to present. And just the heartfelt comments that came from the city council to Mr. Foley was awesome. His mom was in the meeting. That was the sweetest thing. We had to limit how many of us were actually in the meeting. His mom was there. The principal was on the outside watching it on YouTube, but his mom was in the meeting. It was awesome. I checked, we don't have any new ones. I've decided to leave it off for this month because I wanted to see where we were at and what we wanted to do for next month. But it was a really neat experience to present to somebody like that. His very specific, the words he used were that too often the kids in our community aren't recognized. And it's really great to have an opportunity to recognize the kids, but also, isn't it great for us to be able to recognize the schools in our community and the teachers, given what's going on with COVID and how difficult this has been for everybody. So it was quite a long meeting. We may want to think in the future whether we want to double them up on the same meeting or we want to spread them out. Student of the month, teacher spotlight, student of the month, teacher spotlight, however we want to do it. But it was really exciting to see somebody that has embraced student of the month so well be our first teacher of the month. So that's my perspective. I don't have a new one. I can pull the ones from before, or we can just kind of let it rest for tonight. I know David's not here tonight, but I'm okay if you guys have no questions moving to the next item, but you're welcome to ask questions. We good?
My only comment would be that we perhaps distribute the form to the various upper levels, like Mr. Solorzano, the new community superintendent.
Yes.
And start to look at that so that when we choose our next one, it's coming from maybe from a little bit above.
When Mr. Solorzano, we definitely reached out to, I'm having monthly meetings with the local superintendent. And so he asked me to provide links to all the things. So I know, Nicole, it's you and David that are working on Student of the Month. So to make sure that we include Mr. Solorzano on the list so that those are going out. I will make sure, because there were 2 or 3 new principals that they wanted to make sure that we basically, here's the city of San Fernando and this is what they all do, which is when we get to principals brunch, what will eventually happen with that, but to make sure that the new principals were hitting the ground running with Student of the Month and specifically Teacher Spotlight. But definitely would like to see those applications out. My only other suggestion would be whoever agrees to go to the meeting to make sure we present, maybe we have that information. We have if there is a video, because it looks like for the next while, we're gonna be doing videos, having the videos in the Dropbox so that we can pull them out. Assuming that the person is doing it knows what they're doing, because that would not be me. Somebody would have to teach me how to play the video. But I would learn how to play the video. Although, like I said, it was kind of a happy accident that Councilmember Ballin was able to share her very specific memories of Mr. Foley presenting. So does anybody have any other ideas for where we go with Teacher Spotlight?
I think for this one, for the first one, it was really, the video was really necessary just for this particular one. But in the future, I think it's possible to keep it short and just, have the one nominator read their thing. And I think it won't end up being as long as it was this time. I think it was sort of just a unique situation. So I'm not really worried about it.
Okay. All right. Anybody else on Teacher Spotlight? Okay, then we go to Student of the Month.
So I did reach out to all the channels, including Mr. Solorzano, and I'm really sorry to do this to y'all, but we have to make a very tough decision tonight. There are 10.
Oh, there's 10. I saw 2. I didn't realize there's the documents go deep.
Yeah, the documents go deep. So
Okay, let's do this.
Cynthia, the ones you sent me are not redacted, right?
The last one that went out to all the groups, they were redacted. I only redacted the emails since the schools belong to, the addresses belong to the schools.
Just double checking. Do you want to share them or do you want me to share?
Do you want me to share the email that Cynthia?
I could share it out. Which one? Do you want to start with the K through 8 category?
Sure.
Can you all see the screen?
Yes. Okay, so lots of nominees. The first one was Lily Moreno. She's from O'Melveny. She's a kindergartner, which I thought was really adorable. Lily comes to Zoom class every day, is respectful, follows the virtual learning rules, turns assignments in on time, participates in class, is always happy, eager to learn, ready to start class, polite, and says thank you. She's a delight and truly choose gets best. Not sure what that meant. Completes all of her work on time. So that's one. That's Lily.
See, that's the one that I read and I was sold when I read it. So now I have to like completely rethink my thinking.
There are so many and they're so cute. I have to admit, by last night when I was reading them, I was like bawling by then. This is Nicole. Go ahead and keep going. She's also at O'Melveny. She's a 5th grader. She's a problem solver who takes initiative. She'll request clarification when unclear about assignments and initiate her own learning. She dedicates time to complete her assignments and her quality of work stands out. She may be a candidate for O'Melveny's and Myers Scholarship. Not sure what that is, but that is very neat.
We had a presentation on that a few months ago. There's actually the O'Melveny and Myers accounting firm actually still provides a scholarship to a student in that school. So that's kind of cool.
This is Jaden Gonzalez. I think he's also O'Melveny. Yeah, O'Melveny, 5th grade. And
so yay for O'Melveny.
Yeah, is an extremely positive and enthusiastic learner, always respectful, safe, and responsible. He builds on his classmates' ideas by adding to classroom conversations, turns in his assignments, asks relevant questions, has had perfect attendance. He communicates, collaborates, and uplifts his peers.
And that's Jaden?
I think this is the one that's not O'Melveny, right? Keep going. Leah?
That was Jaden.
This is the same one, yeah? Okay. This is Leah, and she is from, also O'Melveny. Okay, also O'Melveny. And she's in 4th grade. She has a positive attitude, has shown leadership qualities. Oh yeah, this is the one that I like this one. I like them all. I want to honor them all. Her energy is infectious. Having class through Zoom has not stopped her. She is determined to lead small group discussions and has even led a breakout room. Her willingness to go above and beyond is admirable. She's mastered the mute button and jumps in and out of discussions, making class discussions interesting and fun. She even stayed after instruction to try something new with me and teach others. She shared her screen to model her learning to others. Her positive energy shines through even through her screen.
Can we have her at all our meetings?
Can teach us to master our mute buttons. Keep going.
Oh no.
And this is Natalia from the San Fernando Institute of Applied Media. So this is our only middle schooler. 6th grade, Natalia participates in all of her classes daily. She helps others through the chat box, is positive and willing to ask questions when she doesn't understand something. So that is the K through 8. Do we want to discuss these? I think that's it, or is there another one? That's it, yeah? Mm-hmm. So that's it from the elementary. Or K through 8, sorry. Do we want to discuss these first or move on to high school?
Now let's discuss these first because I might forget.
Okay.
Yeah, the name, they're so cute.
are.
Right?
Let me jump in here real quick. I literally only read the first one because I saw that and I thought we haven't had that many all this time. So first of all, Nicole, kudos for getting this many. I know how hard perfect attendance is right now. I can't even imagine what it's like for a family with little people. But I really like the fourth grader.
Leah, right? The one.
Leah, is she one of the ones with perfect attendance? It's Jaden and it's the kindergartner with perfect attendance, right?
I don't know if they mentioned it for.
They didn't in this one, but everything else, she's doing everything.
She might have perfect attendance, but they clearly
They
thought
didn't mention. That's fine.
her leadership skills were more mentionable. But yes, Jaden, I think, had perfect attendance, always turns on assignments on time. I admit I'm leaning towards Lily or Leah. I feel like that the kindergartner with the positive attitude or Leah with her leadership skills. The thing that got me about Leah is that so we did a student survey at my school recently, and obviously I can't share names or anything, but a bunch of the students, when they said, what is the one thing that we should do to make learning better? And so many of them said, no more breakout rooms. It's so awkward. Nobody talks. We just turn off our cameras and stare at each other for a while. And I've
You didn't get that message.
Yeah, elementary schoolers are not like that at all. But I think it's hard sometimes to take on leadership of your peers in social situations that are not physical. So the ability for her to be like, yes, I will lead the breakout rooms. If I was a fourth grade teacher, I don't know that I would do breakout rooms. So kudos to her fourth grade teacher. And kudos.
We know who would do the Pledge of Allegiance for the city council meeting.
Yes.
Yeah. I lean towards Leah also because she is also a person that shares her learning. It says something about she teaches others. And so she's not satisfied with just learning herself, but she teaches others. And I think that in a fourth grader is a very, outstanding. It's a character kind of quality.
And sharing your screen that takes a lot of trust.
That does. So I don't know how we're voting or what we're doing, but I kind of am leaning.
I'm okay with that. Suzanne, do you have an opinion?
Actually, I like both of them. The infectious, the energy is infectious. When somebody has that energy, then it makes a difference in the group. So yeah, I'm kind of leaning toward Leah also.
I think we're kind of unanimous on this one.
So I'll make a motion then. I motion that we award the K-8 Student of the Month to Leah from O'Melveny.
I
will
second.
second. Okay, go ahead.
A lot of seconds.
Yeah.
I second it.
So then roll call.
I'm sorry, who was the second, Commissioner?
Yamas.
Yamas. Okay, roll call. Commissioner Olivia Robledo,
Yes.
Commissioner Nicole Moore,
Yes.
Commissioner Suzanne Llamos,
Yes.
and Vice Chair David Govia missed out. He is absent. And Chair Angel Zobel Rodriguez.
Yes. So now we do 9 to 12.
Really hard. You might even get more emotional at these. Maybe it's just because I'm a high school teacher, but I read them all and then burst into tears. So yeah. So Jason Partillo is from the Social Justice and Humanitas Academy. He's an 11th grader. The fact that this is the first one is just so high school. Jason always comes to class with his camera on. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but if you teach high school, you'd know it's a lot. Camera on, a positive attitude and ready to learn. He advocates for his peers and points out tech issues. In fact, during the first day of class, he informed me that we have an emerging bilingual student who would benefit from translations of class materials. He's kind, compassionate, and has demonstrated leadership in the online learning space. I'm privileged to have him in my class.
Wow.
And next is Catherine from ACE. Catherine is a 9th grader who is always ready always on time and ready to participate and complete assignments. And Antonio from ACE is, I think, a 10th grader, 12th grader, sorry. Antonio, a 12th grader. No matter the assignment, Antonio always comes through doing the extra, no matter what. Great student, great kid.
Great kid.
Emphasis. Gregorio is also from ACE. Oh, he's the 10th grader. Gregorio has actively participated in all Zoom sessions and has done so with a positive attitude. When the content does not come easy to him, he has made a point to ask questions and pay close attention to the answers to help him through his work. And he always says please and thank you. I wish all students approach online learning the way Gregorio has. He's truly been a bright spot in an otherwise difficult school year.
Oh,
Are you crying yet?
no, it's close. It's coming. Give me a minute. We still got
Andre,
one more.
this is Mr. Foley's nomination from ACE.
Mr. Foley and Company.
And now he's adding that, so the lest you think it all him. Andres strongly advocates for himself in a positive way. He demonstrates growth mindset because he approaches his failures as a way to improve himself rather than succumbing to defeat. He is currently working diligently to improve his GPA and does not give up even when he doesn't quite get it right the first time. He has not let the challenges of distance learning prevent him from attending all of his classes consistently. Andres maintains a good, positive self-image, even though sometimes teachers at other schools, not ours, have had low expectations of him. He always maintains positive relationships with ACE staff, even during distance learning. His video calls and his big warm smile warms our hearts, especially given the fact that we seldom get to see students in person. We miss seeing his big smiles and being surrounded by his positive energy. Andres' positive attitude serves as a model for his family members and teammates.
You got a handicap, Mr. Foley. I'm sorry. Wow.
Yeah, it's hard.
Don't you want to award them all?
Yeah.
I go for Jason or Andres.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning to. Jason or Andres. I really, the fact that Jason took the initiative to be an advocate for one of his peers, especially on day one, said a lot. Yeah, Mr. Foley's narratives are always beautiful, but I just, the camera on thing, y'all, I gotta tell you, like, it's like a domino effect. It's really hard to explain. And it's funny because my daughter's an elementary schooler and it doesn't happen in elementary school. But like one kid turns their camera off and then like the next person whose box was next to theirs turns their camera off and then the next one and then the next one. And all of a sudden you're like staring at a screen full of black boxes with names on them. And it's very impersonal. And I understand all of the reasons that students turn their cameras off, but the fact that he's always ready, positive to learn, and his needing to advocate for his peer really stood out to me. So I don't remember getting a lot from the Humanitas Academy either.
The advocacy part, you know, being bilingual myself, it's so easy to just be the bystander and not do anything and just look on and just hope that they learn. So I know that that takes courage and it takes some kind of commitment to having your fellow students succeed along with you. So it's very, to me, it leaves a big impression on me that he would do it.
Suzanne, do you have an opinion?
Yeah, I think this guy would have been a real good candidate for the courage component because Commissioner Robledo's right. In order to see somebody out there who has needs, it takes courage. Positive approach. I think they're both, the benefits of Jason and what was the name of the student with the other descriptors? Andres. I think a benefit to both of these students is the teachers description or explanation of their character. I think that's why those two are in the run. I just have a question about the process. Is there we don't want, I mean, it would be beneficial if teachers spend a little bit more time writing about the student, because sometimes it looks like maybe a report card comment, and it kind of, why am I sharing this? Okay, everybody, why am I sharing this? You know what, I think Andres would give more of a description of positive, the positive, because that's what we're going for, is the positive component. Jason is courageous, good attitude. But I don't know. I think I'd lean more to Andres with the positiveness of his actions and what the teacher wrote about him. Focusing in on the positive aspects. So I'm going with Andres.
What if we did 2 high school students?
Fine.
Well,
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
what about little Leo?
If you'd like to do Leah is already in for the K-8.
That's something.
We-
Can we honor both of these two, or is it okay to have 3 students of the month?
We can do what
Angry?
we can kind of do what we want. This is one of those advocacy things that we are allowed to vote on, and they will be presented. We've had 3 in the past. I know we've switched it where we had 2 high school students and there wasn't a K-8. I think they're both strong, and we're going through a lot right now. In terms of, I loved starting with positive attitude, because positive attitude is what's getting them through. I mean, I wish we could send them all something, because like I said, I know perfect attendance is almost impossible right now. I would love to be able to share these with schools to make sure that these are the types that we're getting, that I don't want other candidates to be considered less because we got a 1-line response.
Yeah.
It not that 1 line is not fantastic, because we would not know about these students otherwise, but given this going on, I don't have a problem with doing 2 high school students and 1 K-8, because I think it's going to be hard to choose between Andres and it's the first one, right? Jason.
I'd really like to honor both, especially because I'd like to honor someone from the social justice humanitas, because in the year that I've been here, I don't remember doing many from the social justice humanitas. So I really am excited to see them nominating, and I really love their nomination. Yeah. So, but I also really love Mr. Foley's nomination. So I would love to see both of them.
Yeah, I'm okay with both. Does that seem like that's a possibility?
You need a motion? Is that what you
Well,
mean?
as I say, we're not, if it comes down to having to pay for the extra paper, I'll throw in the $5 for the certificate, I promise.
So noted.
Okay, thank you. Olivia, would you like to make the motion?
I move that we have 2 recipients for, what is it?
Positive attitude.
9 through 12 for positive attitude. And that would be Jason. I don't know his last name, but Jason and Andres. Jason from Humanitas and Andres from ACE High School.
As far as I'm concerned, we can never have too much positive attitude. So we need a second. I will second. Now we need a roll call.
Commissioner Robledo.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
Commissioner Llamas.
Yes.
Vice Chair Govea is absent, and Chair Zobel Rodriguez.
Yes. So we good?
We're good.
All right. And then for next month, what is the topic?
I'm all verklempt here and forgot to pull that up. But while I pull that up, Cynthia or Julia, what is the date for that?
For next month's council meeting.
Yeah, like at which one would we be presenting that at?
Okay, so we're not presenting a teacher spotlight
No.
Correct.
for next month. It'll only be the student of the month. Well, so there's 3 students that you will be presenting,
Right.
right? The
Plural.
kindergarten, right, and the 2 individuals. Okay. Next council meeting, I'm going to turn around, look at my calendar really quick. Is the second meeting would be October 19th.
Okay.
And then that would really be the only one. The next one would be November 2nd. And I know that our city manager's office is definitely trying to keep it very, 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 very low on in terms of staff reports for that particular meeting.
I
So,
like the 19th, if that's okay with everybody else.
Yes, 19th sounds great. And I cannot find for the life of me the list. I'm sorry, Commissioner Govea sent it to me and I can't find it.
I'll keep digging. Give me a second. I know I wrote them all down.
It's somewhere. Sorry, I had it all saved in a file and now I don't know where. Oh, I think I found it. Okay, so October is responsibility and ownership. Responsibility and ownership.
Okay.
I don't mind just handling that file myself for responsibility and ownership, but if anybody wants to contribute to what that is, I think that was one that we did in the past as well, though. So I'll probably reach out to Vice Chair Govea and see what our description was in the past, because I have the forms for March and September, but I don't have the forms from last year.
Okay. Are you able to present on the 19th? Do you want someone else as backup, or you're definitely good?
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Okay.
So I do have direction from city manager's office as far as our presentations are concerned. And outside of the technical difficulties, they would like to limit the presentations to 5 to 7 minutes. It just is a just different atmosphere when you're in a Zoom presentation.
Mhm.
Versus, I mean, I'm sure you all know, versus in council chamber, and we're shouting out for them 5 minutes and it's wonderful, lovely. Unfortunately, Zooming is so difficult to maintain that level, and they ask if we limit the discussion slideshow to 5 to 7 minutes.
Okay.
Got it. It is in my calendar. It will happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We good on student of the month? We ready to move on?
Done.
All right, scholarship. Let's see, discussion regarding the 2020-2021 scholarship process, applications, and awards ceremony. Do we have any information from council or the amount of money that's left in our budgeting?
I do not have that information readily available. Cynthia, do you have that information?
To share the budget. I believe it's around $5,000, which is
Okay.
probably what we spent this year. I will pull it up right now. Give me just a second.
while you are pulling it up, has anybody had a chance to read the topics or the question prompts to decide whether we want to eliminate any or hold on to what we have? Has anybody given any thought process to the scholarships that we do have and what we might need to consolidate, or if we're just going to do smaller ones?
Yeah, I thought there was one that was out of funding, but I don't remember which one it was.
I think there's a little bit of funding in everything. Oh, that's so tiny. I don't want to get caught staring at the screen that close. Let's see. Oh, thank you for my tired old eyes. You, bless you, bless you.
So I have not updated the commission stipend donation.
Okay.
So this reflects the, let's see, June, up until June.
Okay. That's still a good idea where we're at. Have we talked, has there been any discussion with Republic? Do we know if the Republic scholarship is still going? Do we know that Republic is still our trash server?
I believe David Govea initiated those conversations, but I will follow up with Julian from Republic to make sure to see if they're still interested in participating.
Okay. If that's something that I need to follow up on, let me know, and I will reach out either to Julian or, and we have not heard from city council members that have donated in the past. All right, I will reach out to Vice Mayor Pacheco.
Yeah, that was one that I was wondering. I thought Vice Mayor Pacheco's, I thought was like a one-time, so I wasn't sure if that one we still have.
Right. They were from, I believe they were from community funds, so I don't know if that's what they're going to do. Does anybody want to reach out to their council member? Otherwise, I could pretty much just round the circle. Around the horseshoe, I guess is the correct term, but.
I will after the election.
Okay. That's what that, yeah, I guess I see.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking if there's any funding there might be funding before, but that's okay. We just need to know what scholarship which scholarships we can fund before we start to advertise them. The backing the date out, we need to have these really to go out as the kids, ideally December 1st, but before the kids go out on Christmas break so that the schools can present them. We don't need to present them in November because every senior in the world is doing way more. They should be focused on their applications, not on their scholarship essays. We can move into February. Again, this is one of the ones that because we straddle the election and we don't know what's going on. 2 years ago, we tried really hard to have everything done before the November election so that whatever happened to the commission that we were able to move forward without having to try to redo everything. You know, we have less funding this year, but we can certainly ask around. I know that David was actually going to look at or talk to some people about some additional funding as well. So it does look like we're going to have to push this off until next month. I will reach out to Councilmember Pacheco, or Vice Mayor Pacheco.
I'll reach out to Fajardo about it too. I just am not sure if.
Yeah, he's probably too busy to answer, but if he's planning on funding one now, fantastic. If he wants to wait until afterwards, but it's a possibility. It's just, we will need to know what they are.
No, I just have a clarifying question because the
Sure.
bottom is the bottom section has always confused me a little bit. So you've donated your stipend. Chair Govea had the Why Not You, and Councilmember Balin had donated to that. And so there's all those funds that were donated. But then I don't know what of those are still available and what aren't, because there's the money in the current balance fund, but I'm not sure like if each category, like, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
My understanding was that we used council member Ballin's money for the Why Not You, and that's what we spent.
Okay, so there's still 500 available for that.
Vice Chair Govea's $500 from his Facebook fundraiser is still there. Vice Mayor Pacheco's $1,000 was spent, so that's gone. We would still have the ICFA money that's still there of that, which would be $250, correct, Cynthia? Am I reading that right?
$1,250.
It's not the 2,000 that it's the $2,000 for the Elias are not gone.
Are you looking at, oh, so that 550 is, I believe it's, yeah, that's still there.
Oh, so there's 550 there, and there's still 2250 from ICFA. That's not the 2,000 that's subtracted. That's subtracted also, but there is still 2,000 there. Okay, so we have more than I thought.
So
I was thinking.
Total there would be for that little account. For the various donations account, there's 4,375, and then in total for all scholarship funds, it would be 4,925, and that is not including 2 months worth of, or 2 or 3 months worth of stipend donations.
Right, that's not going up super fast. It's something.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we have some. I mean, I would say that for the next meeting, I would just like everybody to really focus on, I think the essays that we have worked well last year. We don't know what's going to happen with the actual scholarship event, but if anything, I think we turned it around last year the best way that we could for the actual scholarship awards. But I want to make sure that we reach out, or whoever feels comfortable reaching out to their council member and see if they, in previous years, some of the council members have donated $250 from their community funds. If not, then that's fine, and we work with what we work with what we have. But right now we're hoping to have Republic. We'll double check on that.
If Vice Mayor Pacheco does want to renew his scholarship, you might want to consider a different prompt for that one, because I think it was about entrepreneurship, and it's kind of a difficult time to think about starting a business.
We will work with the Vice Mayor on his prompts, because we worked on his prompts, and then right before they had actually gone live and we had published them, he was still ready to change them again. And I don't think he quite understood the process, or he wanted to read the essays. Like, okay, you can see the essays, but we need to vote on them. If you want to vote on them, then that's not part of the Education Commission.
Can we send him the ones that were contributed to his last time?
I believe he did end up reading them. I'm not sure that I had him talk to Cynthia. So, yeah, he again, we will be very clear with how the process works. But once the prompt goes out, we can't change it. And the science one was pretty clear, but the entrepreneurship one kind of, it changed a little bit. It's always easier if they say, here's some money, we would like you to do this with it. He had very strong opinions on what he wanted to do with it. But it was a new process for him, and it was a new process for us to start one out completely, think we had it done, and then had to redo it very quickly. So, again, we don't know. I will check with him. I haven't decided how mine's going. I kind of want to hold the stipend as where we can plug holes to make sure that we have scholarship. I really like the mental health and Lord knows when we started this, I had no idea what mental health was going to be for kids right now.
Right.
But that's where my heart is. But it's not like there's so much money in there that we can just say, and you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. So I don't want to commit to a scholarship when I would rather help fund the ones that we have, either Gabriel or Elias. Republic stands by itself. And if other council members would like to sponsor a scholarship, I would strongly recommend they sponsor a scholarship within the scholarships we already have, rather than the one-off that we realized last year that we ended up with a couple of loose ones. We obviously have Why Not You? Those essays were fantastic as well. So I want to make sure that we have, funds that we can at least get some impact for as many students as we can. So
I wanted to make a statement in defense of the, not to defend, but in support, I guess, of the Why Not You one. Two of the students who won those are students who I've had, one of whom I knew he was submitting the essay and one of whom I didn't. I didn't coach either on the essays, and one of them probably could have been better. But man, did those have an impact on those kids, probably more than, and it's not a very large scholarship, but it makes like a huge, huge difference.
It's books. It's what we've said since day one, they're books or their fees, because when you get financial aid, it doesn't kick in until like after school starts. So, there's stuff that they start asking for at school.
It was, I think, the reason that one of the kids graduated. One of the kids was just really having a difficult time with distance learning, and Vaughn chose not to do the no-fail policy that LAUSD did because we start our semester later, so we didn't really have the same number of weeks that LAUSD did before it. And he was sort of like, oh, I guess I'm not gonna graduate. And then he won that scholarship and was like, oh, I guess I have to graduate now.
If that's what it took, then I am so happy that happened.
And he really finished strong and graduated, and it really was really awesome, and it made a huge difference. So yeah. I think that scholarship, like, Councilmember Ballin says that is like the one that she thinks is the most important of all of them, and I think I might agree, actually.
One of the students that won Why Not You lives right next door to me, and I didn't even know there was a kid that lived there. So that was really exciting. So when I saw the graduation happening and doing the drive-by with the signs in the front yard and the kid standing out there in his cap and gown, wanting to roll his eyes while every relative drove by, it made my day, because I'm like, yep, I know what you're doing, because I literally, there's been a couple now. There was a kid the very first year that lived 3 or 4 houses down from me. You don't know where these kids are. You don't know what they are. But when you read the essays, they blow my mind. So I definitely want to do this. If I could just ask everybody to kind of look at the prompt, and if there's one that you really know you don't ever want to read again, we did dump a few between year 1 and 2. Because ironically, every kid wrote, I think it was, Olivia, you can remember, wasn't it to define success, and every single one of them that did it was famous? It was something like, the question seemed to me like it was open to the world, and every single person wanted to be famous. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I think we're going to get a lot of COVID. If we decide to add one, I know that the college counseling people have strongly recommended against kids talking about COVID, but I think they all are going to want to talk about COVID, on how it affects them individually. If you can think of a way to frame it, just like we did with mental health, so we didn't go down a wormhole of difficulty, if you can think of a way to frame it, if we add one.
So one that might be interesting to go there is a conversation that was in a community circle at my school recently, is we talked about what are the silver linings. What have been
that
the
I like.
linings?
I know I've talked about that a lot personally, because there's so much that has happened that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And after 7 months, I can't just dwell on TV and the news and what's upsetting me. So it's like, what have we if you want to try to present a specific wording on that, I'll work on one too, because I do like that, because I feel like that's going to be something that we'll get even more kids to respond to, because they're all thinking about it. I don't know where we would put that one, but that's not, I would definitely wait till next month on that specific thing, but I would like to preempt every other essay being about COVID. You know, tell us about your social justice issue, COVID. Tell us about, the time you became an adult, COVID. If we can steer COVID into the silver linings, and I know that it's not, there's some people it'd be very difficult to find a silver lining. I know at this point my daughter is it's very difficult to start looking for silver linings at this point after 7 months. Remember when they said it was going to be 2 weeks? Yeah, I do remember that.
Would it be possible to get the prompts? Because I think they were all in those forms and they were just projected. And then
yeah, what's the easiest way for me to do that? Because I have the forms. So, Cynthia, do you have the forms too?
Screenshot them and send them to Cynthia.
If I do that, or do you have access to the forms?
I have access to the forms. Did you all want to see it right now, or did you want to use it to prepare for the next meeting?
I mean, it's 7:30. I want to be respectful of everybody's time. Do we want to like digest this later?
I think we'd like to digest it, but can you send it to us so that we can digest it and come ready to the next meeting to discuss it?
That would be super helpful. Thank you. Yeah, I did 2 hours in the community room or 2 hours at the dais is not a big deal. 2 hours in my daughter's office and I'm ready to go take a nap, which would be problematic on its own, but all right. Does anybody have...
Sorry about that. I will also update the budget and clean it up and get rid of last year's information to make sure
Thank you.
Reflects.
So we will get budget and the prompts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right, so the last thing we have on here is for the principal's brunch. We're obviously not doing a brunch right now. We talked about, as the school year started, sending notes out to the schools or sending a packet out with all the information about possibly some of the stuff that we're doing. At this point, I have not had the bandwidth to do that. I did present some information to Mr. Solizano and Andres to provide them for the brand new principals. I think everybody else kind of knows what's going on. I know there's been some changes. I know there hasn't been a tremendous amount. I know there will be more changes coming up very soon, or maybe there will be no changes. Well, there will be at least one change. You know, there'll be one change. Does anybody feel strongly about sending that out sooner or after the election? I mean, there's a theory both ways.
Well, maybe there's a way. Maybe we could just find out who's new.
That's when I gave the information to Mr. Solizano, and I told him about Student of the Month and Teacher Spotlight and the scholarship events that we would be sending information. He was going to send that to the new principals. I assume that's what happened.
I'm wondering
so,
if maybe we could just invite the new principals to come to like the November meeting and introduce themselves briefly, and then we could just tell them, hey, you can find this meeting and our procedures on YouTube, and here are the programs we have. It's on our agenda. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome, 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 or something like that.
Oh, I love that.
However, I think some of the older principals wouldn't know. I mean, I think all of them would benefit. And we also included, daycare centers to high school. It wasn't just K through 12. So
I was just looking for a Band-Aid fix until we're willing to do an event.
Well, I'm just saying they would all benefit from that. So I think they should all receive it.
Okay. For the next meeting, I will present what I have, and then we can maybe assign an ad hoc to kind of take it and make it into something that looks nice, because I essentially sent a laundry list because that's what they asked for. What do you guys do and what can we give to the schools in San Fernando to let them know what you guys do? So I literally wrote a list of all the things that we do. but I can bring that for the next meeting. Do we want to invite the new principals then?
How many
We're
are
gonna have Michael Long, and we're gonna have someone from Mission College already presenting.
That's October though. That's the same. What about, I was suggesting like November, like
Oh, November,
post
awesome.
election.
Post-election. I hope the world is normal by then.
I hope so too, but I'm just thinking, like that would be pretty close to scholarship season, and
that would be fantastic. I know one of the high schools flipped. I don't know the other ones. I'm not sure what the other schools are that has the new principal, but I'm okay with that for November, and we can definitely find out who they are by then.
okay.
So that particular meeting is November, that would be November 24th, the third or the last Tuesday of the month.
Yeah,
Also Thanksgiving week.
it's Thanksgiving week, but
So I don't know if the
Yeah.
principals and schools are all out
yeah,
on vacation in their home.
yeah. They're not having Thanksgiving with relatives anywhere else. We can figure that out, or put out feelers and see what's available. But I will bring what I had typed up for that meeting, that I presented to the local district folks.
Okay, and I'm going to, in October, bring the updated list. And so,
Okay,
from
perfect.
Baker up to high school.
Commissioner Rodriguez, what is the presentation from Mission College going to be about? What does that entail?
There we go.
So I'm on the Commission of Community Affairs with it's the president of the Mission College.
Oh, good.
And so he is very interested in coming to speak to the commission for 5-10 minutes and talk to us about things that are happening at Mission College. So I attended one advisory committee meeting, and I was totally surprised with all that's going on. So I think it's more just giving us information, and so that if we need to give it to students or to parents, we would be able to do that. So he showed an interest in coming to our commission, and so we cleared the calendar, and then he was able to come in October. So he'll be.
Oh, that sounds good. Great. I was thinking and listening to what everybody was saying about when we were talking about the scholarships, and you had the concern about the students talking about the COVID issues and how that's on their minds. So I can see, going back to what I had presented earlier, I could see it's important. However, now I'm thinking about it and listening to everybody. This is like the end of the semester, of the school semester. You never bring in new projects at the end of a school semester. So I'm rethinking of inviting Michael Long for next meeting. I think that maybe it might be a better idea to wait until the new commissioners or the new, whatever commissioners are here. It might be better. What are your thoughts on that? Because I heard a couple of statements saying, well, you know what, it is at the end of our year, our political year. And it's a really important topic, and I really wouldn't want to not give the effort or just listening to the possibilities if it's the end of the season. So what are your thoughts on that? And I'm okay with, holding off on inviting.
I think we've already agreed that he was coming.
Uh-huh. Yes, we did agree on it, but I'm having second thoughts in this.
It's a short and sweet introduction. It's definitely great. Not all of us will be gone, no matter
Right.
what. That's
right. I'll save this for general commissioner comments, but I have something to say about that when we get to general commissioner comments. But I think we're okay for a lot longer than you think.
Okay. Okay, so if you're okay with it.
I appreciate thinking about it, and I, have lived in the city long enough, not as long as plenty of other people, but I've lived in the city long enough that we always make provisions. But I think we're okay with trying to move forward because that's the work that we do.
And because the kids need us. You're absolutely right. Okay. All right. I'm okay with it then. Okay.
All right. We don't have anything else on principals brunch. Then it is general commissioner comments. Does anybody have any?
I'll make it quick, but I went on an observatory visit in my role as the chair of the Transportation Commission to watch a DUI checkpoint that the city got a grant for. And in that, a conversation came up with Sergeant Aguirre, in which he said that he's working with Cesar Chavez Learning Academies to try to present to the students, because most of the students who were pulled over were not under the influence, they were unlicensed.
Yay!
And yes, but yes
It's
and no.
serious.
It's really good that they're not under the influence, but it's a major it's a danger to our city when they're unlicensed, but it's also, it's just inconvenient to them and their families and very expensive for them to deal with it. And so he's been trying to do presentations about how easy it is to get that ball rolling and everything. And so that's something that I'm going to try to get some more information from him. I don't have anything now, but I just wanted to put it on y'all's radar that I think I would love to see us knowing a little bit more about how it is that our teenagers can get their licenses. And be licensed safe drivers. So it was a very interesting thing. And I was very pleased to see the way that the officers treated everyone, especially the young people. There was some situations with young people that were handled very delicately, and they were people who live in our city, and I appreciated it. So I will leave it at
Very
that.
cool.
Good.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a comment. I just want
Sure.
to compliment the city and Julie Fernandez for all the messages and making sure that the public knows about the cooling centers. And I don't know, every time I get a message, a telephone call, so forth, her voice is very delightful, and I appreciate it. I feel well taken care of, and I don't know if all cities do this, but it just makes me really happy that we are able to do that for our constituency. And so just pass that along. Yay for Julie.
Let her know.
Awesome.
And I agree with Commissioner Robledo. When I get our San Fernando alerts, I do feel more protected, just as I've always felt from the very beginning when we started to live in the city of San Fernando. There was always that close communication. We are being cared for. So yes, please do extend that our thanks for that one.
Will do.
Okay. I will piggyback on that, because after I saw that beautiful certificate, we say do a thing and Julie makes a beautiful thing, and there's a certificate for Student of the Month that came out of nowhere because not one of us has graphic design background. We said, hey, can you do a thing for teachers? And we just want it to be a thing and make it look pretty. And what we presented looked like nothing. If I had scribbled it, it would not have looked like that. And it was fantastic. It looks like it went through a professional printing place, a graphic design school, whatever, but it was fantastic. It was beautiful. And the pictures were shared on so many different social medias. So after the meeting, I made sure to type out and thank Julie for that. My only other thing is regarding the election. We're always cautious, we're always careful because we don't want to leave things unturned, but there's no reason to think that even if anything changes on the election, I will strongly reach out and advocate for every one of us. I know that, I've worked with Olivia for a long time, worked with David for shorter than that. And, Suzanne, I've known you for a very long time, and I begged and begged for you to come on this commission. And when I finally found out you were coming in, I tried really hard not to hand flap, because I was just really like this. I was so excited. Nicola, we didn't know you before. We always, I feel like we work well together. And even if someone does get elected that's different, it doesn't matter because you stay on until you're replaced. And I would advocate strongly, anybody that wants to stay, stays. I literally can't even imagine another commission. We don't have a say in that. That's the bad point about being appointed, but you know, we do good work together, and I'm constantly, when I'm talking to other council members for a variety of things, I'm always, you know, saying how lucky our commission is. So anyway, that is what I had to say, but I would definitely say don't, you know, we are cautious, we're focused, but I would not worry about the election because we're not the ones that have to be elected. We just have to make sure we go out and vote. That's what we have to all go do.
I have a
So,
question. I'm sorry.
go
This
ahead, Olivia.
is kind of a legal, and forgive me if we've been told this before and I don't know it. So our participation in city politics, as far as people that are running, candidates and so forth, our support or involvement, can somebody tell me the parameters on that?
That's a good one.
I can actually send you the parameters. It is quite a list, but the parameters are spelled out in a memo that goes out to all employees. And I'm pretty sure that memo was sent out to commissioners early on.
That's why I'm saying if we all got it and I've forgotten about it, that I need a refresher.
Absolutely.
And I've never seen that memo, so I would need to see it.
Okay, we'll go ahead and send it. I'll send that out tomorrow morning to you.
Thank
Very
you.
appreciated. All right. So if that is all, I think that's all.
I move that we.
Yeah. Oh, wait, we have to officially have staff communication, but I think we did some of it already. So staff communication, are we done? Oh, all right, Olivia, you got it. It's your job.
That we adjourn the meeting.
All right. We have a second?
I second.
Okay, Suzanne's gonna second. Roll call.
Commissioner Robledo.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Yes.
Commissioner Llamas.
Llamas, yeah.
Llamas. Commissioner Llamas.
Yes.
Vice Chair Gouveia is absent, and Chair Zobel Rodriguez.
Yes. Thank you, ladies. We did it.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Take care.
Thank you.